a heatwave.
Hello and welcome to the Roker Report Lasses podcast in association with HerGameToo, the campaign against sexism and misogyny in football, and of course Sunderland Community Soup Kitchen. My name's Rich Spate and I'm joined for the second of our Euro 2022 specials by Roker Report's very own Charlotte Patterson. How are you this evening, Charlotte?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, thank you. Just got back in from watching some more non-league pre-season friendlies, so I've had a good day out in the sun, just trying not to get burnt.
Yeah, it's beautiful weather for pre-season friendlies, isn't it?
Oh,
obviously, I think we're Sunderland men have got Rangers tonight because we're recording on Saturday. We're also recording in right in the middle of the Portugal versus Switzerland game in the Euros, which is currently at 2-0, and it doesn't look like Portugal are going to get back into that one. It was 2-0 after 5 minutes. That's been a decent game. There's a man there with a drum making a great atmosphere from the Portuguese side anyway. And talking of great atmospheres, Wednesday we saw the kick-off of the tournament. I was there, Charlotte, but I haven't talked to anyone yet who was watching it on the telly. And you were watching it on the telly,
yeah.
Like millions of other people around the country were. What was it like as a kind of a televisual spectacle? Because all right, there was 68,000 of us in the ground, but there was a hell of a lot more watching on the telly. So what was it like, and the build up and everything from that side?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a fantastic event. I mean, it fills you with pride, really, you know, watching obviously the Lasses play, and particularly when, you know, obviously it's ourselves that are hosting the event. I can't remember the full announced attendance. I think it was something around 68,000 in Old Trafford, and it was just incredible to see those scenes. Obviously, like the camera angles from the telly was, you know, panning round to show all these fans. And, you know, throughout the game, when you were watching it, you could hear them and the excitement. You can hear the notorious England band with the drums, however you view that, whether you like it or not, but you could hear that throughout, and obviously people cheering, and, you know, whenever we would get forward as well, you know, everybody kind of at the edge of the seats and hoping that England were going to have a good chance off. So it was amazing. I can't imagine what it was like watching it in person, but even just, you know, watching it from home, it was very immersive. Sort of felt like I was there as well.
Yeah, well, you know what? I didn't even know that the England band were there. So they must have been on the other side of the stadium, which is great, because I'm not a massive fan. I heard a muted drum beat at times, but it was just so loud in there. Like Jen had suggested, slightly different tone. There was loads of kids, loads of women. Wonderful. Like, absolutely brilliant. Music was blaring. You know, they had a DJ beforehand who, not everyone's cup of tea, but I quite enjoyed her. I thought she was good. The dancing and the fireworks, and they made a real occasion of it. But I think there was a really good article in the Times this week, which started by saying, you know, they didn't make it all about it being women. It was just about, this is a football tournament that's starting. It's a really big occasion and a really big thing, and it was a celebration. So I thought the atmosphere was amazing throughout. So yeah, so we got off for a bit of a slow, nervous start once the game did kick off. A couple of mistakes at the back, looked quite nervy, but then those nerves were settled really on 16 minutes when Frank Kirby chipped the ball over the defence. Beth Mead chested it down and chipped Zinsberger in the Austrian goal. Were you jumping around your front room at that point, Charlotte?
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic goal. I mean, you know, the skill from Kirby. I mean, you know, a lot of people weren't too sure about her inclusion in the England squad, given the fact that she hasn't had a lot of game time with Chelsea this season. But, you know, she's proved exactly why she's been called up, and, you know, that regardless of how many minutes that she's played, that she still has that incredible talent for, you know, just creating these amazing opportunities. And obviously it was a cracking ball through, and Mead, who, you know, we know very well from her time at Sunderland, has just brilliant composure and skill to just chest the ball down, and then the audacity really to sort of chip the keeper, particularly, you know, given the fact that she's a very, strong veteran goalkeeper who plays for Arsenal, I believe, is Arsenal's goalkeeper. And I'm sure that she won the Golden Glove this season. So, she's not exactly, a goalkeeper that you're going to score many past. And yet she just absolutely had the audacity to do that to her and somebody who's her teammate as well. So absolutely brilliant goal. And it set it off well, because I know that we spoke in the last podcast episode that we had with Jen. We were talking about the fact that England have generally started off quite slow in the majority of the games in the build up to this tournament, and it's usually in the second half that we start to see the attacking prowess and the goals. But we got off, it took us a good 10-15 minutes to find our rhythm, but that goal really sort of kick-started what was to be the rest of the game.
Yeah, certainly. It looked for a time after that goal like we would take the game away from them. There was a lovely bit of play down the left-hand side. We saw Lauren Hemp get in a really lovely cross. Ellen White, unmarked almost, on the 6-yard line, managed to put the ball over the bar. And I think that was a golden opportunity missed by England. And after that, we didn't create too many absolutely clear-cut chances, and I thought Austria were really, really well organised. Actually, their right back Weinrother had an absolute fantastic game against Hemp. I thought she didn't give the England youngster any space at all, and really neutralised her impact. England managed to switch the wingers quite often, where Mead and Hemp were alternating from left to right. That caused a few issues. Mead, I thought, was great throughout. Actually, I thought her, although she came off after 64 minutes, I thought her performance was phenomenal. Her intelligence and her kind of pace on the breakaway were fantastic. What did you think of the setup of England overall? Obviously, we played that formation that'd be quite familiar to Sunderland men's fans, really, and women's fans, in playing a 4-2-3-1 formation, which seems increasingly popular in the game. What did you think of that? And would you go for the same kind of formation against Norway on Monday?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously the 4-2-3-1 is what we've been using prior to the tournament starting, when we were playing our games against the likes of Switzerland and Netherlands. And I just think it not only kind of shore things up at the back by having somebody who can drop into defence, but by having sort of, you've got your two wingers, you've got somebody just sitting in behind the striker, and then going up, you've got four people in attack in essence, really. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that was clear to see throughout the game. As much as, yes, we didn't get create too many chances, we were constantly coming forward. We were dominating in terms of possession. Again, we were looking to create things out on that left side, and like what you touched on, obviously they did do very well at sort of keeping Lauren Hemp at bay, because we sung her praises on the last episode as to how good she's been in the lead up. But they've got that sort of skill set to be able to sort of switch the wingers over from the left to the right, like you said, with Mead coming across, and I know at times Kirby came out onto the left as well, just to provide that additional width, because they didn't really want to play it centrally. It was all through the wings, and there were so many crosses into the box, and there was plenty of opportunities, maybe not necessarily clear cut, but lots of opportunities where they went in the box, and it was just like you said, glancing headers over the post, or just things going slightly wide. But you could see that the creation was there and the intent was there, and I think it for a little while it did sort of stagnate at the start of the second half, but obviously we made those substitute changes with the likes of Russo, Toon and Kelly coming on, who we highlighted last week that they're absolutely fantastic coming off of the bench, and they added some energy into the game, and I think it was Russo or Toon who had a really, really good chance where the ball fell away, but it just seemed to just trickle past the post. So it's encouraging signs, definitely, particularly with the difficult game that we will have against Norway coming up.
Yeah, I mean, Norway got their campaign off to a really good start on Thursday against Northern Ireland. It was a really good game overall. They went 2-0 up quite quickly with goals from Blackstad and Marnham before Hansen got a penalty, and Nelson pulled one back for Northern Ireland, but then Wrighton scored a nice curling free kick on 54 minutes. So there's a couple of ex-Sunderland players in this one. Obviously, Rachel Furness, who plays for Liverpool, and Durham's Sarah Robson, or Sarah McFadden, as she goes by, for Northern Ireland, where she uses her maiden name. What did you think of that all round? Did you get to watch that one, or is that one you've just seen highlights?
No, I managed to watch that game, and I think straight from the off, Norway were just absolutely fantastic. I think I'd put in our group chat, I couldn't quite tell if Norway were just really brilliant, or at that point, Northern Ireland were quite poor. Obviously, it's the first ever time in the Euros, and they're coming up against a side that's very, very experienced. The calibre of players that Norway have, it was always going to be a tough test. Obviously things didn't get off to the greatest of starts, but I think particularly in the second half, Northern Ireland got their goal back. But not only that, I thought they started to come into the game, started to settle. Obviously they started to find the rhythm and being able to sort of compete really with Norway. But I think obviously it was just through that first half, because I can't remember quite exactly, but I'm sure it was 3-0 heading into half time. So they had a mountain to climb really in terms of getting back into the game. But I certainly don't think that the particularly in the second half, they give a good account of themselves, considering again this is their first ever time competing in the Euros. And it was a really thoroughly entertaining game, and I thought the likes of Wrighton and Graham Hansen was absolutely fantastic for Norway, just utterly sublime. They're definitely threats in this upcoming match that we're going to have to really watch and really sort of try and stamp them out of the game, otherwise they are going to cause us trouble. Because as much as it wasn't our, England weren't necessarily tested too much by Austria, we know that we have had defensive lapses at the back at times, just maybe trying to play things a bit too cute, where we get possession back just outside of our box, and at that point it's just you just need to clear your lines. It's the most basic of stuff. But so I think we really need to sort of play with confidence and be smart about what we do, because it's silly little mistakes is what's going to cost us. And I mean, Norway have got the strength and the power and the speed and the agility of their players to absolutely punish that. It'll be certainly an interesting game next week. The next coming days.
Yeah, I mean it's on Monday, 8:00 on BBC One. It's going to be a hell of a game of football. I'm really, really excited for it. There's a school of thought which says it's likely to end in a draw, but I think given how well Northern Ireland played, actually, and given that they're going to build through the tournament, build through the next two games, we've got to face them in the last game, and I think we should be going all out for a win against Norway to secure that first spot in the Group A that we were in, which will mean that we come up against the second place team in Group B, and Group B was played. The first round of games was played on Friday, and wow, what a day of football! Particularly that headline game of the day down in Brentford between Denmark and Germany. Which I think was the game of the tournament, clearly so far, and the performance of the tournament. I mean, Germany turned up. They've been almost written off. I know I called them to go in the semi-finals because I thought they might turn up, and boy, did they turn up. It was phenomenal, wasn't it?
It was an absolutely brilliant game. I mean, just straight from the off, and I mean, Denmark aren't exactly a side that are a pushover. So for the scoreline to be 4-0. Really shocked me, because I thought that it would be a little bit more balanced, that I thought it would be more sort of end to end in terms of both of them having chances, but Germany were just absolutely dominant. I mean, there's a reason why they've won the Euros 8 times, and I think that there's somebody who I don't want to say necessarily underrated, but I don't think enough people have sort of talked about them or given them credit enough for the side that they are. I think a lot of us have obviously focused on England and Sweden and Spain, but Germany's just quietly confident in their abilities, and they were just absolutely ruthless in their attack. I mean, I'm hoping almost that they finish top of the group so that we won't, draw them.
Well, yeah, they were relentless. is how I saw it. They would just didn't let Denmark get out. Obviously, Denmark would be disappointed. I think Harder looked really frustrated with the players behind her to a large extent, and ended up having to drop quite deep just to get a touch of the ball. But they were absolutely fantastic, and I have to say, Magul, the first goal scorer, she looks one hell of a player with unbelievable technique, really powerful and dangerous. And when she strikes a ball, it stays struck. That first goal was a great one. But overall, I just thought they were so impressive. If it ends up being an England-Germany final at Wembley on the 31st of July, how big a game will that be? That'll be absolutely... You've got a terrified look on your face, though.
Yeah,
as I suggest,
fills me with apprehension, really. But it would certainly be a very good game for neutrals, yeah.
yeah, it will be fantastic. And the other game in that group was pretty routine in the end. 4-1 win for Spain against Finland at MK Dons Stadium, at Stadium MK, and our intrepid reporter from Milton Keynes, Brett, took his girls and his wife along to Stadium MK to watch what turned out to be a game with 5 goals in it. So let's hear from Brett in his audio diary now.
So, I've got a couple little buddies with me today. So, what's your name?
Chloe.
And I'm also with?
Millie.
So, I'm with Chloe and Millie, my 2 daughters. So then, girls, are you looking forward to the match?
Yeah. Yes.
And who do you think's going to win? Spain or Finland? Who do we think?
Spain.
So Chloe's gone for Spain, Millie's gone for the underdogs, Finland. So, let's see what happens. But we're looking very forward to it. The sun is shining. It's absolutely gorgeous. And, I'll catch up with you at full time.
It's a heat wave.
All right, Brett again. So we've just got back from the match. Spain 4, Finland 1. What a great game that was to watch. It was really, really good. We were actually sat just behind, next to where the Finnish fans were, with their megaphone and their drums. So I'm not really one to praise such things, but we're made for an absolutely cracking atmosphere today. So then, obviously, as I said previously, I'm with my daughters, Millie and Chloe. Millie, so what was your favourite part of today then?
Probably when Finland scored their first goal.
Yeah, this took everybody by surprise. So obviously Finland were the massive underdogs for today's game. I think some places are about 20-1 to win. But yeah, for them to score in the first I think it was about a minute and 30 seconds, breakaway goal. And to say the Finnish fans absolutely loved it. That was great fun. Also, when we were there, obviously, we were right next to the Finnish fans. So we were trying to join in with some of the songs. Now, the big problem is our Finnish isn't brilliant, to be fair. Chloe, me and you were singing there. What was your favourite song that the Finns were singing?
Hotdog belly.
Hotdog belly. Now, apparently that was one of the chants they were singing. Well, we were singing it. Chances are we were wrong on that, but it was really good, though. So, unfortunately, we were sort of wanting the underdogs to win. So, unfortunately, they did lose 4-1. Hopefully, they'll get something on Tuesday night when they play against Denmark, again, over here in Milton Keynes. But for my very first game, going to watch women's football, I was really, really impressed. Really, really good game. It was a real shame to say that the Finnish players, they weren't as good as Spain. They gave everything they got, but they were literally blowing fumes by the end of it. But yeah, we'll look forward to Tuesday night's game.
Bye.
It was lovely to hear Brett's audio diary. Once again, it's lovely to hear from his girls as well. It was nice that they both picked different sides, and it must have been very exciting when Finland scored that first goal within a minute. Everyone was shocked. I was shocked. But then Spain really showed their class in the end, didn't they, Charlotte?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, I missed the first half of the game. With it having that early kick-off, I'd only just gotten in from work when it was half-time. But I was surprised when, I was looking at the highlights to find out, that Finland were the ones that actually took the lead. But yeah, I think, it was that wake-up call that Spain needed, really. And, after that, they were just, similarly to sort of Germany, they just became ruthless. particularly in the second half. Obviously, they were dominating. I did think that Finland gave a good account for themselves. It's just unfortunate, really, that the keeper, I would maybe say, didn't have the best of games, because 3 of the 4 goals that Spain scored were all from headers, and I thought that a lot of them could have been dealt with better. Obviously, there was absolutely nothing that the keeper could have done for the 4th goal, which was a penalty, because it was absolutely sublime. There's no goalkeeper is saving that when it was just in the top corner, perfect as you like. Nobody's saving that. But it's one, because I know that, myself included, I was a bit unsure about sort of Spain heading, how they were performing before the tournament, and then obviously with the news that Alexia was going to be out due to her injury, we were sort of thinking, well, where's that sort of, there were a lot of talented players within the Spain side, but, she obviously is that creative spark for them. So we were wondering whether they would be feeling it a little bit more. But, they've shown that they can do that, without her in the side. And it was yet another thoroughly entertaining game.
Yeah, it was. And I think it set a record as well for the highest attendance from a non-host country game at a Women's Euros, which is fantastic, and it's good to see the people of Milton Keynes and the surrounding areas really getting involved, as they were at Brentford as well for the Germany-Denmark game. And I mean, everyone's been thoroughly entertained. I've just counted up. I think there's been 17 goals scored so far, because it's still 2-0 to Switzerland after 56 minutes as we speak. 17 goals in 5 games, which is a decent return by anyone's standards. Long may that continue during the tournament. Now, back here in the northeast, there's been some goings on. We've had the fixtures announced for the FA Barclays Women's Championship season, which Sunderland AFC Women will be taking part in from August through till the end of April next year. And we've been handed the prize fixture first up. Charlotte, you'll be pleased that you don't have to go very far from Durham to watch Sunderland against Durham on the 21st of August at Maiden Castle. Tickets are on sale now. Have you got your ticket yet?
Yes, I purchased them yesterday because I missed out last time, because obviously the tickets at for Durham at home playing against Sunderland at the end of last season, they sold out very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And I didn't get my hands on them and I missed out, so I was making sure that I definitely didn't this time.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be away. I'm on holiday, so I won't be able to get to that. But we'll try and work with the club and get you handing out the flags this time to the Sunderland fans there, and we'll try and create the atmosphere that we had at Maiden Castle last time, and hopefully the performance will be a significant improvement on our last 2 results against Durham last season. I think it's going to be really interesting because obviously they've gone full time. We've added 2 of their players who weren't up for going full time in Abby Holmes and Nikki Gears into our squad. And I think it just adds another layer of spice, another layer of intrigue to another River Weir derby. So I'm absolutely buzzing to follow along that. Hopefully there'll be some coverage of it. And then I think our first home game is 11:30 the next week, the next Sunday against Birmingham. So which suggests it may be some TV coverage. So we'll have to watch out for that. The other thing that the club has announced is that this coming Monday, which will be the 11th of July, when England are playing Norway in the Euros, before that, Sunderland AFC ladies are going to be holding an open training session down on Seaburn Beach, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. We're really looking forward to that, and our aunt's going to be going down to that. Any chance you'll be able to get to that, Charlotte?
Remind me what time the training starts again?
It's 6:15 on Seaburn Beach.
Well, because I work in sort of Jarrow South Shields area, and I finish work at 5:00 on Monday, so I might just pop on over. I'll probably go home, if I'm honest, to watch the match after, but I'll certainly go along to the training session. I'm sure it'll be a great time, and great to sort of see the lasses in action again, because it feels like it's been so long, but it hasn't really.
It hasn't really, but it couldn't be a better time. There's a heat wave coming in. It's already pretty hot out there, and after the training. Only a short session, but kids are going to be able to get involved in the session as well, which is great. They're going to have a kick around with some of the players. They're going to be going over to the Stack, the restaurant bar place with a big screen in the middle of it, which is in Seaburn, and going to be doing a meet and greet with fans there, and then watching the England Lionesses on the big screen in Stack. And there's obviously all the food and drink and all the bars that are going to be open there. Our aunt's going to go down. He's going to have hopefully have a chat with some of the players and maybe grab a word with Mel as well. And we'll be able to bring you that in our next Euros update. But it's a great initiative, isn't it? It's the aim. I spoke to Chris Waters yesterday, and he told me really this is about getting people who might not be season card holders at the Stadium of Light to buy a Eppleton season card. Maybe young families buy Eppleton season cards. It's really affordable. Do you think? What do you think of this kind of initiative, Charlotte, for kind of campaigning to get more people to get down to Eppleton this season?
Yeah, I think we've touched on it for quite some time, whether it was on our Twitter spaces or in previous podcast episodes, but we've always talked about sort of what Sunderland can do in terms of marketing itself a little bit better or having that community outreach. And, we need to hit certain demographics. And I think, given the sort of current hype and enjoyment that people are having with the Euros being on, this is the perfect opportunity really for Sunderland to start bringing in those fans who may have just started watching football in the last couple of days and watching England, and sort of putting together the fact that a lot of the stars that play for England have come from Sunderland or have played for Sunderland at some point, and being able to watch these future stars. I mean, we touched on the last episode that we've got the likes of Niamh Heron, who represents England under 19s, and we've got Libby McGuinness, who's the under 18s for England, and Grace Eade for the under 17s. So we've got our own sort of plethora of talent coming through, and that's a great sort of thing for these kids to see who are going to these open training sessions. As not only am I playing with these incredible footballers, but there's the potential here that I could potentially be playing football with someone who's going to be I'm going to be watching on telly in the future playing for England. As well as obviously the training session itself, I just think it's like a good way of having almost kind of that casual downtime really with fans, by going over to the Stack and watching the football and having the opportunity for like meet and greets, because it's nice really to see sort of footballers outside of that environment of playing on like match days. And again, it just helps sort of kids and fans be able to relate to them that little bit more. So I certainly think with the Euros tournament on, this couldn't have been a more perfect time. And I hope it's something that, obviously I understand it's not something they could do all the time, but it maybe for the future, particularly over these hot summer months, might well be worth looking at it and judging the success of how this first one goes to see if we got a good turnout, so maybe let's do it again. If England make it to the final.
Oh yeah, and the sun's still shining. That would be fantastic. That would be really, really good. And maybe they could do collaborations with the council. Maybe create a bit of more of a kind of a fan park down there if we do make it to the final, and make this a really great summer for women's football and football overall. Because loads of people are getting into it who've never really had the chance to watch women's football, and that's fantastic as well. Something that we love to see. So we're going to leave it there. We're going to hopefully get back and watch the end of tonight's game.
It's 2-2 now.
Oh, it's 2-2. It's gone 2-2.
Yeah.
I've got 2-1 here. I've got 2-1 on mine, so it's gone 2-2. They've got back into it, so this is going to be a great final half hour of this game. And so we better get back and watch Portugal against Switzerland then before tonight's really big one, which is the Netherlands against Sweden. So, you've got Olympic silver medalists against the reigning European champions. That's a delicious prospect we've got there. So, loads of football. So, we'll be back later on this week after the Lionesses game to pick over that one and look forward to the game against Northern Ireland. So, thanks a lot, Charlotte, for coming along this afternoon.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me on.
and we'll speak to you all soon. Sarah.
Chemistry, biology, toxic misogyny, still haven't had a single apology. Chemistry, biology, toxic misogyny, still